Key insight number 5, and this was from the very first interview that I did. This was with Andy Allen from Hike SEO. So it's a do-it-yourself SEO tool aimed at really small businesses, the kind of businesses that they don't know how to do SEO, they may not have the budget to hire an agency to do it for them, and they're looking for a tool that they can use that is going to make that whole process way easier. They understand that SEO is important, but they just don't have any real way of doing it because it's a bit of a difficult industry with a lot of jargon, and there's a lot of skill involved in learning how to do that effectively. One of the big things that came out of that conversation is this idea of doing software with a service. So it's not pure play SaaS, subscription revenue, and it's not strictly a service business either, but they do a little bit of both. And what's appealing about that is there was a time, particularly when I first got into the startup world, where the conventional wisdom is that you raise a ton of money from investors, and then you build this awesome product, and then you focus on really scalable marketing channels. Most of them were digital, so SEO, email marketing, paid ads, maybe affiliates. Those are your main marketing channels. And you grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and you're burning all this cash along the way until you get so big and you've got so many customers and you've got all this recurring revenue coming in. That's when it starts to really pay off. Now, that doesn't work so well for bootstrap businesses, and increasingly, the happy days of free and easy money are long gone now. So investors are quite often pushing startups to generate revenue faster, reach profitability faster. And so there is more of an appetite now for other revenue streams beyond just the SaaS subscription revenue. And a lot of successful SaaS businesses that I see now, they have at least one other revenue stream that's pretty significant for them. And this is not just bootstrap businesses, by the way. So Shopify, for example, they have their subscription revenue. They also take a cut of your sales. They take a percentage of your sales as well. But they have a payment processing business that is gigantic. If someone buys through a Shopify store, the default option is that it uses Shopify's own payment processor, and they take a cut of that. That business generates a huge amount of revenue for them now. In the case of Hike, which is obviously a much, much, much smaller business than Shopify, Hike found that they were offering this tool to their customers, small businesses who wanted to do SEO, but a lot of them would start using the tool and go, oh, this is cool, but I don't have time to do it. Can you just do it for me? And they said, no. Can you just do it? And eventually they got enough people requesting it. They thought, you know what? Yeah, look, let's just do it for them. The danger that they encountered, though, is that they were making so much more money out of the service component than they were out of subscriptions, that they ended up turning into mostly a service business with a few subscriptions on top of it. And then they had this moment of realization where they said, whoa, hang on, like that's not why we started this business in the first place. Let's pull back a little bit from this. We want to do some services, but we don't want to just mostly focus on services. Otherwise, we would have started an agency. So for them, the key part of that journey was what Andy called finding the perfect shade of gray. So how much service and how much subscription do we do? Where do we draw that boundary? Is there a very clear-cut delineation between this is the service that we do, this is everything else that we don't do? So you can do it yourself, or we will do this limited amount of service for you. Anything else, that's on you. Now, you don't necessarily have to do the services yourself. Quite often what we're seeing is that SaaS businesses will put together like a marketplace of freelancers or contractors that can help you implement it. For example, Kajabi has a network of Kajabi experts that you can use to help you, design your website or implement some sales funnel or something like that, they know the platform and they can set it all up for you. I know that Lemlist and Instantly, they are cold email tools, and they have a list of vetted cold email agencies and freelancers that can help you. They can run the campaign for you. So quite often, you don't need to provide the actual service yourself. You can get other people to provide the service and maybe take a cut. That's another revenue stream for you. But it also means that you're solving a problem for your customer. If you don't offer that service, whether it's in-house or delivered by a third party, if you don't offer that service, they might just look around and find a competitor that will. So I think that offering a service, or at least having another revenue stream, is a really important differentiator, from a customer retention standpoint. It's another revenue stream that certainly helps because the subscription revenue is great, but it takes a while to get going. There's another example that wasn't an interview necessarily. This came from the Startups or SaaS founder community. This is the paid community that I run for more advanced SaaS founders. Adam White, who is a really interesting serial entrepreneur. He's started and sold like 9 businesses or something crazy. He had a business called SEOjet. And it was a tool that would find backlink opportunities for you. So you're doing SEO, it will go out, it will find, hey, you can get a backlink here, you should get a backlink here, you should get a backlink here, which is useful. But what he was finding is that a lot of people didn't just want the backlink opportunity, they didn't want to know about it so much as they just wanted someone else to build the backlink for them. And so what he was doing to grow, like he knows a lot about ads. And so he was doing paid ads to grow and it was working okay, but he was finding that he just, all the money that he was making would just go straight back into the customer acquisition cost. He wasn't able to sort of get enough margin on that to make it viable. So he's spending all this money on ads, trying to drive the cost down. And then he had this light bulb moment. He thought, hang on, what if I just found a backlink building agency and I partnered with them? And so instead of just, so what happened in the interface is when you go in, it would identify a backlink opportunity, and then there would be a button next to it saying, get someone to build this link for you. And people would click that link, they would go through to his partner's website, they would buy a backlink building package, and Adam would get a cut from that. And that affiliate revenue from that relationship, that meant that his customer lifetime value was so much higher, which meant that he could now afford to spend more money on ads to acquire a customer, because a customer was worth significantly more revenue to him. So he could plow more money into ads, and his business really started growing at that point. He'd spent so much time focusing on trying to cut the costs down to make it work, instead of how do I push up the total revenue that I'm generating per customer, like the lifetime revenue of a customer. How do I build that up? That was the game changer in that business. And he ended up selling it and was super successful and all the rest of it. So key takeaway from that is if you look at your business and you think about all the other products and services that people use before, during, and after they use your product, those are all opportunities to partner with someone, or services that you might even be able to deliver in-house, or even software tools that you could potentially recommend and get an affiliate cut from as well. So instead of thinking about your SaaS business in a vacuum and just focusing on the subscription revenue, there are lots of other revenue opportunities out there, and some of them are pretty easy to turn on fairly quickly that have much higher margins. So you might want to think about, in 2025, what else can we sell to our existing customers? And does it make their experience much better? Does it bring in a lot more revenue? Does it allow us to increase our marketing spend so that we can acquire more customers and grow a bit faster? If the answer is yes to any of those things, I think you'd be crazy to ignore those other secondary revenue streams. Secondary revenue streams are important. Don't neglect them. So key takeaway number 6 from 2024 is about sales. And sales is interesting. When I first started out, I was terrified of doing sales. I'm reasonably good at it now, but when I first started out, I hated it. And it just felt so awkward and unnatural. And the idea of picking up the phone and calling someone and trying to convince them to give me money for something that they weren't even necessarily looking for, I had all kinds of ick about it. It just didn't naturally sit well with me. The way that I reframed it, though, is I've actually got something that's really valuable and really helpful here. And if I don't get this in front of someone, they are missing out. I'm doing them a disservice by not telling them about this awesome thing that I've got. And that helped, and things got easier over time. But I interviewed Scott Cowley, who is a sales expert. He runs a thing called the Sales Mastermind, and he helps particularly not natural salespeople, like founders who are not natural salespeople but have to do sales, and he helps them to either get better at selling themselves, or he helps them to hire a sales team the right way, and gives them what they need to be successful and hit the ground running. So I was picking his brain about the right way to structure a sales call and what you need to do. And a really interesting interview, a really tactical interview, by the way. So if you're not great at sales or you want to get better at sales in 2025, make sure you go and check out that interview, because there's some real gold nuggets in that. One of the biggest gold nuggets from that interview, though, was he talked about this idea that when you're selling to medium and large size businesses, price is not the barrier. In 99% of cases, price is not the big sticking point for them. The big sticking point is the inertia that they've built up because that's the way they've always done things. So if you're selling to one person and they adopt a new product, they've got to learn how to do it. If you're selling to a big business and there's a team of 100 people who have to learn how to use that new product, okay, to make that happen, you need to train people to train everyone else on how to do it. So you need to train the trainers, then get the trainers to train everybody else on how to use the new product. You need to rebuild all the integrations because no doubt that software product they were using before is plugged into everything else that they're using. Someone has to come in and rebuild all of those integrations, and that's a separate bit of work. And then someone needs to project manage all of these things. The adoption of a new software product is a big project in and of itself because there's so many moving parts with it. So adopting a new software product is so difficult the bigger a company gets. And so his big kind of secret hack is if you're selling to, this is part of the reason, incidentally, why if you can get an enterprise customer or even a medium-sized customer, that's really good because they tend to be pretty sticky just because it's such, once they switch to you, they're not in a great rush to switch away from you because there's so much work involved in switching to something else. But he said the biggest hack if you're selling to medium and large size businesses is instead of thinking about how you can make your pricing more affordable, start thinking about what you can do to make adoption much easier, as easy as possible. Can you offer to build the integrations for them? Can you do some customization work for them? Charge them for it, obviously, but quite often they've got money to spend. Money is not the barrier. It's just it's going to be so much work getting this, and because it's so much work, I'm going to get pushback from people that don't want to do it because it's going to be a distraction and everything else. And make it as easy as possible for them to become a customer and to actually get properly onboarded and using it. And they're likely to be so much more successful, and they will stick around forever because if they had a great experience with you and your product's good, they're not going to go anywhere else. That's a bit of a mindset shift that a lot of founders need to make. Selling to small businesses is very different to selling to medium and large size businesses. Small businesses, you're generally dealing with the owner directly, and they can pick something up and start using it very, very quickly. But as soon as businesses start to get lots and lots of employees, they start getting layers of middle management involved. They get different teams using different workflows, and you've got all these integrations and everything that's got to play nice with. That's when things start getting a little bit difficult in terms of adoption. So if you can think about ways that you can make it much easier for those businesses to use your product, you can reduce all the work involved in onboarding, even if that means you've got to build integrations or do some extra customizations or something else. Charge them for it, but offer that. You're probably more likely to get the sale if you offer to make it as easy as possible for them to get started, and you charge them for the work that's involved in that. They're going to be paying for it either way, whether they're paying you or they're paying someone else, or they're paying their own internal team members, or they're paying for it in terms of lost productivity in their internal team members. So they're going to pay for it either way. They might as well pay you to do it, so you get some additional revenue, and it's much easier for them to say yes and agree to become a customer if you're able to make it as easy as possible for them. So that's a little hack that you might want to think about if you're trying to build up more enterprise customers in 2025. Hey, it's Ryan here. If you liked that video, please click the like and subscribe button somewhere down there and check out the full interview right over here. Go on, click it. You know you want to.